I was approached a while ago by a woman after I had spoken at a networking meeting who told me that she had a very pressing problem. That later that afternoon, she was going to go ask her boss for a raise. She felt she deserved it. She'd been working there for a long time. She'd exceeded all expectations, etc. The problem was every time she spoke to her boss, she was absolutely intimidated by him. So now we're doing this in the parking lot outside the meeting. This is how effective shifting the picture can be. So I'm going to tell you this story, and then you can figure out, and I'll give you some pointers, how you could do this for yourself. So while I was talking to her, I asked her, I said, what is it specifically that intimidates you about your boss? Is it something is it seeing him? Is it hearing him? Is it a touch? What is it? She thought for a second. She said, it's his voice. I said, good. When you hear his voice, where do you hear his voice? She said, what do you mean? I said, well, is his voice in front of you? Is it off to the left? Is it off to the right? Where is it that you hear his voice? She thought about it. She said, it's off to the left. And I said, always? And she said, yeah, always. Good. Now, if it's off to the left, is it in the middle of the left? Is it low left? Is it high left? Where's it coming from when you hear it on the left? And she said, high, up here. Always? Yes. So it's up here, always on the left-hand side, yes. So I said, close your eyes for a minute and imagine that you could take his voice and move it over here to the right. And I started just clicking my fingers over here by her right ear. Imagine you could take his voice and move it over here to the right. What happens to the feeling? Does it increase, decrease, stay about the same? She said it decreases. What happens if you move it down to the corner? She goes, oh, that gets even better. And just for fun and for inspiration, I said to her, what would happen if you added Goofy's voice to his voice? And she started cracking up with that. I said, now ask your unconscious mind to just seal that in. Seal that in down here in the bottom right-hand corner. See how you feel. All right? And we spoke for a couple minutes and asked her, so tell me about this meeting coming up. She goes, I feel really good. I talked to her a couple days later. She went into the meeting and she told me it took her everything that she had not to laugh when he started speaking with her. So no psychological intervention here. Nothing about, oh, tell me how you feel about your father, this archetype of the boss representing her dad. None of that stuff. Moving the sound from here to here and putting it down in the corner made all the difference in the world. So what does this have to do with shifting the picture? It's exactly the same thing. In the first video we talked about changing the picture. Now we're talking about changing the sound. So if you have the sound of somebody's voice or a sound that irritates you, that when you hear it, it bugs you, try moving it in your mind. Identify exactly where you hear it, because I promise you, if you think about it, you'll find a direction that it's coming from. Could be behind you, could be in front of you, could be high, could be low. Listen to it. Is it high? Is it low? Is it pitch tinny or is it bass? Play with that and just move the sound someplace else, and then ask your unconscious mind to seal it in and lock it in there and see what happens. This is particularly effective with people with intimidating voices. It's a very, very simple, very powerful technique. Next video, number 3, we're going to talk about what to do if it's a feeling.